The Newcomer, page 116. Terry went back to his pacing. The sound of the monitor's voice and the smell of the lunch matrix had sent his mind racing. He'd saved himself all morning for indoctrination, and he wasn't going to allow these matrix to take that from him. He paced his room until he sweat poured from his forehead. He paced his temp room the way he used to pace safe room. Jennifer was about to push a number into a panel that would fill the room with an undetectable, tranquilizing mist when she saw Terry sit down in his chair of cushions. He began rocking back and forth, and then stopped when the sensation stirred a memory. My matrix and he had not been permitted to have lunch in the garden, for it had rained the night before. Strong winds still blew through the trees as a spring storm left Newcomer. The ground was thick with mud. Denise came up with another perfect idea, lunch in a private chambers. Terry could imagine what her room looked like, but he was certain that it would be unlike any he'd seen, for it would be as glorious as my matrix herself. That revelation hadn't prepared him for what he was about to see, for when the door opened, Terry stopped, frozen at the side of the wall of windows. Denise had already sat down in her dinette when she noticed that Terry was still standing in the doorway. "Come in, Terry, and sit by me," she called. He slowly entered the room, playing his toes through the carpet that felt like Denise's garden beneath him. He couldn't sit down, though, for he was entranced by the windows. He'd never been so close to a window this size, or even seen one for that matter, nor had he seen so many windows, or so much through windows before. "Terry, are you okay?" Terry nodded. "My matrix?" "Yes, Terry, what is it?" "I have never seen picture windows that were so big." His wonder reminded Denise of previous charges of astonishment. She rose and stood next to him to gaze out the window, too. "It's called a balcony window, Terry," she explained. "One of the panels opens out onto the balcony," she explained, while pulling open the window and then the screen. Terry stepped out onto the balcony. The height didn't frighten him. It intrigued him as he took in the view. "My matrix?" "Yes, Terry." "Are all picture windows really doors to the outside?" Since he was constantly monitored and tempered and would be released from there soon, she found no harm in answering his potentially dangerous question. "Picture windows are like holes in the castle walls that let us see outside. The castle is protected from the rain, the wind, the cold, the snow, and the guys, because Dago plastic is inserted into the hole, allowing us to see outside without letting the weather in. Does that make sense?" Terry nodded, and they went back inside. Denise closed the screen and the window and sat at the table. Terry remained standing by the window. "My matrix, may I touch the Dago?" He stumbled with a word. "Dago plastic." Denise helped. "Yes," he said, impatient with himself. "Dago plastic. Go ahead." He reached out and placed his hand on the cold pane. It felt like the window of the interview room, which he found out was something called a mirror. When he removed his hand, condensation beads had formed within his handprint, a bead of water falling down the print. He watched it smiling and reached out to touch it. He couldn't, for the window's design sucked condensation to the outside. Disappointment, he looked away from the print and saw the house and shops beyond the stone wall of the castle. "My matrix?" "Yes, Terry." "May I ask another question?" "Of course, Terry. Remember, if I can answer, I will. If I cannot, I will not," she said for the billionth time. "Yes, I remember. I'm sorry." "Do not apologize, Terry," she said, becoming impatient with his low self-esteem. "What is your question?" "What is that?" he asked, pointing towards the commons. "Those are the houses, like small castles, where the workers for Nisian Castle live. The bigger houses are stores or shops where the bartering for supplies takes place." She winced, realizing that she over-explained again and that now she would have to explain bartering. Bartering is how we get our supplies. Supplies are things like food, clothing, cleaning towelettes, plates, and cups, items that we need to survive. Terry looked at her, not quite getting her meaning. The niece exhaled, thinking how she should explain bartering in simple terms. Say, I wanted the clothing that you just made, and you wanted this chair that I just made. I would ask you if you would trade this chair for that clothing. That is bartering. Do you understand? Terry nodded. He understood what bartering meant now, but what he didn't understand was that the matrices always gave him all those supplies, things that he needed. He never asked him for a trade for them. Thinking about that for a moment, his stomach interrupted his wondering, and he decided if the Matrix wanted something in trade for all their supplies, they would ask for it. He sat down with my Matrix, still wondering about the houses below. He wanted to ask why the workers for the castle didn't live in the castle, but became grossed in the feel of the hard chair beneath them. He knew what chairs were, he'd seen them before, he'd just never sat down in one. It was kind of like sitting on the examination table at the clinic, except that his feet touched the floor instead of dangling over the side. Holding on the bottom of the chair, he squirmed a bit, looking around the room. "What is that?" he blurted out when he saw Lenice's rocking chair. She looked in the direction to where he was pointing. "That is called a rocking chair," he said. "You sit on it like a regular chair, only when you move back, it moves back. When you move forward, it moves forward. Would you like to try it?" Terry answered her by getting up from the table and sitting down on the rocker. As he rocked, he watched my Matrix's face come closer and then go away, come closer and then go away, come closer and then go away. When my Matrix smiled at him, he turned his blushing face away. Upon doing so, he discovered the canopy bed. The sight made him stop rocking and look back at my Matrix. She smiled at him again, answering the question that he dared not ask. This acknowledgement made him start rocking again, though harder and faster than before.